Hey, what you reading for?
The Dark Side of BookTube. That's two things that I love. BookTube and the Dark Side, two things I spend a lot of time with. So when YouTube suggested a video with that title, naturally I thought, well, YouTube knows what I like. YouTube's always looking out for me, right? So I clicked, I watched, I listened, and I steamed with righteous indignation. Now what this video says, or what the creator of the video says, is not only wrong, but is dangerous to the very fabric of society. And it could, if not challenged, usher in a dystopian hellscape where we are ripped of what makes us human and are reduced to mindless shells incapable of genuine thought or emotion. So thankfully, I am here to react and refute these dangerous claims that are going around BookTube. And I'm going to show you a few clips from this heretical video, and I will set the record straight. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, join the community of good people trying to stave off the dystopian hellscape, or trying to usher it in, depending on the mood. It's a big tent. Now, as wrong and dangerous and misguided as this video is that we're going to look at, so I will leave a link to the channel, The Book Bro, in the description box, and also leave a link to the video that we're going to look at here in a second. So let's dive in.
BookTube has a consumerism problem. Look at the amount of videos that exist basically just for aesthetics and to satisfy the innate nature in us that wants to just see people buy more stuff. I mean, book hauls are the most viewed content in this community, and that has to tell you something.
Okay, so first impressions, we see here, I like the aesthetics of the video. He has a nice bookshelf. He's dressed like he cares. Lighting is good. He's holding what looks like a quality microphone, and the audio is good quality audio. So my first impressions, good job. Looks good, right? But then he starts talking, and that's where the problems begin, right? So the problem he's addressing is consumerism. And according to the definition he shows us, consumerism is an economic and social system that encourages the consumption of goods and services as a means of attaining well-being. So to be clear, his problem is with our well-being. He's coming after my well-being. I don't know about you, but I'm protective of my well-being. I've grown attached to it, or attached to the idea that one day I might have a semblance of well-being. I don't want anyone messing with my well-being. He signals out book hauls as being a problem or symptomatic of the problem. Because they encourage people to buy books. Now, I've hinted at this in other videos, so let me be explicit here. Book hauls are wonderful. They are important. Dare I say, essential to our efforts to continuously strive for a better world. What's the matter, the book bro? You don't want a better world? Here's the truth of it. We need book hauls. Books, reading works of fiction, this is our shared passion. We believe it's important, and it is. Reading fiction strengthens and expands our imagination. We need a strong imagination. That's how problems are solved, obstacles are overcome, discoveries are made, diseases are cured, inventions come about to make our lives better. We've sent people into outer space and created Twitter. And books strengthen and expand our capacity for empathy by exploring the world through different perspectives that books put us in. We gain a greater capacity to understand and empathize with one another. Now, I don't need to sell you on the benefits and the importance of books. We get that. However, the truth, the harsh practical reality is that books do not exist if there isn't an economic structure in place that supports their creation. We need to buy books, otherwise people will stop creating them. And encouraging people to buy books is a good thing. It is essential even to society.
I feel like whenever I go on my feed, BookTube is constantly pushing me this idea that I need to buy more, I need to own more books and all of that.
Yes, you have to buy books. Unless you want writers to stop writing. Publishers will keep putting out books. Don't worry about that. Even if there aren't writers to write them, they'll get AI to slap books together. Publishers don't care. But we should care. We need writers to keep writing, to keep creating works that fuel our passion, that expand our imagination and strengthen our capacity to empathize. We need this. And for that to happen, writers need to be paid for their creations. It's just the reality, the harsh, practical reality of things. Competing with AI and online content is tough, and you're not making it any easier by condemning booktubers for encouraging people to buy books. We need people to buy books. Please, let's encourage people to buy books through book hauls, through subscription services, through whatever means you can think of. Let's look at another clip, yeah?
I was further promoting this idea that unless you own a certain amount of books, unless you buy this many editions of books, that you don't belong on BookTube or in the reading community in general. And that's not how it really should be.
If you don't encourage people to buy books, you can still be a part of the community. It's a large tent. You're just not being a very helpful part of the community. But we love you, just like we love the book bro. I just wish you'd be a part of the solution as opposed to actively pushing back against the solution. It's like this trend on BookTube, maybe you've heard of it, the read what you own challenge. My goodness, when I first heard about this, my heart was broken. Read what you own? No. I mean, read what you own, sure, but continue to buy books so that we can continue to have them. Read what you own. My goodness. Why not club a baby seal while you're at it? Since apparently you are opposed to encouraging creativity and opposed to empathy and imagination. Eat a puppy. Who cares? Everything we love and hold dear is dying, becoming extinct, and we're actively trying to cut off the oxygen and food supply that's keeping it alive. Okay, let's move on.
But it doesn't only affect the viewer. It affects my fellow content creators who feel like if they can't buy this amount of books or if they can't do book hauls, it's harder for them to compete.
Okay, are booktubers really competing though? That might be the problem. BookTube is not a competition. It's a community. A community that is vital to the creation and propagation of literary creation. Yet we are condemning booktubers who seek to make sure writers can support themselves. It's like that famous expression, right? You can't have your cake and actively undermine the economic structure that funds the baking industry too. Or that other expression, don't cut off your nose to spite your face, right? This anti-book haul rhetoric, this read what you own challenge. We're not cutting off our nose, we're carving out our hearts, slitting our own throats and gouging out our own eyes. Cut off your nose. If only we were cutting off our noses. No, but what we are doing to ourselves, what we are doing to our community goes far beyond rhinological mutilation. Let's continue, yeah.
And I think it's important for me to acknowledge my privilege, acknowledge the fact that I live in America where I have infinite access to books.
Yeah, for now, it's not going to last if there isn't a financial means to sustain the activity, right? And the financial means comes exclusively from people buying books. So yes, buy books. And yes, encourage people to buy books. And yes, encourage people who are encouraging people to buy books. I say yes to book hauls. Yes to booktubers who promote consumerism. Yes to buying, yes to collecting, yes to bookshelf tours, yes to showing, yes to celebrating, yes, yes, yes. All right, let's continue on.
If this is the type of content that you want to make, absolutely make it. That's not what I'm doing. So check your privilege. Realize that not all of your audience is able to buy this amount of books.
Okay, that's triggering for me. Actually, check your privilege, he says in front of his well-stocked bookshelves. What about the struggling writer who lives in a tiny apartment in Latvia, so small and so sad he can't even show it to his viewers? What about his adorable cat, whom he must feed through book sales? What about checking your privilege, huh? When you're working to undermine his primary means of income? Why don't you just come over here, reach your hand into the cat bowl, and literally take the food from my cat? Because that is what you are doing when you oppose the promotion of buying books. I know that these book hauls that you talk about, I know that they almost never, or never actually, feature any of my books. But still, a rising tide lifts all boats, you know? And I'm a boat, and I'm drowning. Because in this analogy, I'm a boat with lungs, and I'm going under, and I need to be lifted. Let the tide rise. Rise, tide, rise. Lift up this lowly boat so that it might sail to new horizons.
It's so damn cheap. Like you really don't have to spend any money to read books, especially if you have libraries around you. You have online PDFs. You have
Why do you hate cats? Why? I mean, when you were a child, did you see a kitten, you wanted to play with it, and the kitten didn't want to play with you? So now you're gonna hate on cats? Maybe the kitten was just having a bad day, or maybe it was scared, you know? Don't hate on all cats just because of that one bad experience. Oh, while you're taking food from my cat, why not just go into my fridge? Well, there's no food in the fridge now, but come at the beginning of the month when there's things in the fridge, and just take all that out too, you know? Since you're taking food from my cat, might as well take food from everybody in the household here. All right, let's take a look at another clip.
So I hope this video isn't too aggressive because like I said before, I am not innocent in any of this. I'm just as big a part of it as anybody else in this community.
Well, the book bro, I don't think your video is too aggressive. I think it's wrong, it's harmful, and contributing to the demise of civilization and everything we hold dear. But aggressive? No. Not.
You know, after talking about all this negative stuff, I think I should also acknowledge the fact that our community is one of the best communities out there, man. Like, a lot of communities are more toxic than us. Our community is very welcoming compared to, and that's why I would love to see it improve. I would love to see us do better, man.
Wow, the Star Wars community takes a stray in that video, right? F you, Star Wars community losers. Now, he ends by saying, I would love to see us do better. And on that, I can agree. Let's do better. Let's support the authors whose work we love, whose work we need. And if you're adults not living at home with your parents, which, by the way, I don't know anything about the book bro, so that comment is not about the book bro. I don't know what his situation is like. What I'm saying is that if you are an adult who does not live at home with their parents, support means more than a like or a mention on social media. There is a practical reality that we live in, and support also means financial support. Encourage book buying, don't discourage it. That's the exact opposite of what we need to do. So in conclusion, I think the book bro has good intentions, but he is living in a fantasy world, ignoring reality, which usually is something I can get behind. I hate reality, so I'm very happy to ignore it. However, in this case, living in this fantasy land and ignoring the practical reality of things is making it difficult for me to live, making it difficult for me and my cat. And I don't like when things get difficult for my cat. So I cannot get behind that, and I cannot let this heresy go unchallenged. I will leave a link in the description box to the Book Bro channel, as well as a link to the video that we're looking at here. As wrong as he is, as harmful as it is what he's saying, I propose that we not attack him, that we not shame him, or cancel him. Instead, I propose that we bring him to reason through love. The Book Bro is still young. It's a growing channel. I think at the time of this recording, it has around 600 or so subscribers, so still a relatively young, relatively small channel. I suggest we go over to the channel, show him some love, and maybe through love he will see the error of his ways and stop trying to usher in a dystopian hellscape, which would be nice. Speaking of love, I would love to get in on the book haul action. I think book hauls are great. They're not something that I do on this channel, unfortunately, because I essentially live out of my suitcase. So I can't own things. I do buy books occasionally, but when I finish reading them, I'll give them away, or I'll give them to a library or something. But I can't own things because I'm basically living out of my suitcase. So no book hauls for me. I do have a few. These are all the books that I own. This is my entire bookshelf I'm showing to you. I have Shirley Jackson collection. This is my bus book. It's what I read while I'm waiting for the bus or while I'm on the bus. I have another Shirley Jackson short story collection for when I take other buses. I have this book here, Demon Copperhead, which I just finished recently and I quite liked it. So I'm gonna find someone to give this to. Probably next time I go to the book club meetup, I'll bring this along and see if I get any takers. I have this this book about poetry that I bought years ago and I haven't read it yet, but I will one day. And then we have another anthology. This is crime and detective stories put out by ID Press that they sent me. And I have not read this yet, but I did loan it to a friend who read it and he said it was excellent. I'll get around to reading it eventually. It has one of my stories in it. It's called Albanian Diplomacy. So it's like a gangster story. So I have that. And then the rest of the books are just my books. All right, there's this novel, Edifice Complex, which I put out recently, and it's not selling at all, really. An Algerian immigrant in Paris develops an obsessive erotic relationship with a residential building set for demolition. Edifice Complex, redefining what is meant by homesick. I think one of the problems with this book is that I don't know who it is for. It lives in the horror universe, but it's not scary at all. And it's too weird and violent and bloody to really be a literary work. So I don't know who this is for. Fans of this channel. Except no, not even that. Maybe super fans or hardcore fans. Or just people who love cats. Or people who love weird, interesting, violent, bloody books. And then we have this short story collection, The Orthography of Madness and Misgivings. This is 3 years of my writing career, compiling stories that were published in other places and literary reviews and genre anthologies, and I compiled them here. And I think it's 27 stories that are grouped according to the country I was living in when I wrote them. And each section is prefaced with a biographical essay. Hello, Zvezda. It's like travel log fiction, if that's a thing. Okay. And then what else do we have? We have another much shorter collection of modern tongue-in-cheek horror fables, stories to tell your children assuming you are a very bad parent. And one of the stories in here is called Midnight Snack. I think it's the first one. It was originally, yes, it was originally published by Flame Tree Press in their hardcover anthology called Supernatural Horror. It was published alongside works of H.G. Wells and Lovecraft and Poe and Bram Stoker. It's like an encyclopedia of horror. It's a really beautiful hardcover book, and I wish I had a copy of it, but I don't know where that one went. So despite that story being included in here, the rest are, I mean, even that story is a bit pulpy, but the rest of these stories are just kind of silly, like Addams Family-ish, maybe. But it's a fun tongue-in-cheek kind of horror collection. Then we have this collection of 5 novellas, Delirium's Muse. This was put out by Running Wild Press, and it is people who can't deal with reality, so they take refuge in their delusions, and it doesn't really work out for them. It's the same, and this is Delirium's Muse, but in French. And that's it. Those are my books. Once, if I ever stop living out of my suitcase, if I ever get settled down somewhere, then I will get a bookshelf and I'll just fill it with books and I'll do lots of book hauls. But until then, I'm afraid I can't really participate in that. But I still do encourage you to buy books, because I want books to continue to exist, and I don't want them written by AI. I want them written by real people. So when real people write books, I think we should buy them. Maybe not every book, use a little bit of discretion. But yeah, buy books, and encourage people to buy books too. So there it is. Those are my thoughts. Do you agree with me? Are you a reasonable human being who loves creativity and imagination and empathy? Or do you disagree and you hate creativity and you hate cats? Whatever your opinion is, I look forward to connecting with you in the comment section. Thank you for watching. I'll see you at the next video.